Kunyaza and female pleasure in the Caribbean. Tonight I'll be speaking to Charifa Janga, who is a sex and intimacy coach and counselor from Curaçao in the Caribbean. I'm waiting for Charifa to join. So yeah, just for those of you who are joining, I'll be speaking to Charifa Janga, who is a sex and intimacy coach and educator, as well as a counselor from Curaçao in the Caribbean. I'll be speaking to Charifa about her career, in terms of how she's empowering women, teaching men about female pleasure, teaching women about obviously female pleasure as well, and her fantastic. Hi, Charifa. Good afternoon. How are you?
Hi, good afternoon, Habeeb. Nice to meet you.
Likewise, likewise. The pleasure's all mine.
Likewise.
Thank you for taking the time to have this conversation. I know we've chatted, obviously, via DMs. Before we start, do you mind giving a quick high-level pitch introduction to who you are and the work that you do, and then we can get stuck into the interview/conversation?
Yes, of course. My name is Charifa Janga. I'm 45 years old, born and raised in Curaçao. Curaçao is in the Caribbean. We're like three small islands in the Caribbean: Curaçao, Aruba, and Bonaire. We speak like a language called Papiamento, and it's a little bit similar to the Brazilian style of culture language. It's a blended language. On the island, we do speak though 4 languages: Dutch,
Oh wow.
Spanish, Papiamento, and English, of course. I mean, I'm a mother of two. I have two beautiful daughters, 18 and 19 years old. I'm single, happily single till now. And actually, my profession, I'm a customer experience expert. I'm a coach in change management in businesses. I have my own company. But for the last year, I studied and I said, no, this is the time during COVID to start doing my counseling. The topic of sex has intrigued me since young, but I never had the courage to go and do a proper study, my PhD in sex counseling. So I said, back then, I was like, I had everything already in my study, but they said, Charifa, you're more like a commercial PR girl. Why don't you go study commercial marketing? I said, okay, maybe it won't be a thing, but psychology, human behavior always intrigued me. So from a young age, relationship, I've learned everything from books. My mother was a book reader, so everything I needed to know, I've learned from books. And I grew up not knowing, as the woman that I am, where to fit in, because my way of thinking and expressing myself as a woman, owning my sensuality, sexuality, owning my brain, owning every sense of my body, it's almost like it wasn't allowed. It's not allowed. And men are like, wow, they're not used to women speaking out. So that's when I said last year, no, it's time to bring a change, make a change, because it's necessary when you see how our culture is going through a lot of crisis in relationship, domestic violence. Women are not enjoying sex as they should be. So this is me, and I'm really honored that you contacted me. And I mean, everything I've learned from Dutch books and English book, everything, man, everything is in here, in this small book. I'm amazed. Nice job, really.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm just intrigued. I know you said your background is in customer service and you've got is over 20 years experience with One Care. How did you make that transition to then become a sex coach and sex educator? Are there some transferable skills that maybe people can benefit from if people are thinking about a change of career that you can advise on?
I mean, I'm still doing both. One Care is my main income, but in One Care, you know, I love psychology, and to become more customer oriented, it's psychology. It's the way of your upbringing. It's serving your people. And on the island, unfortunately, we are not raised that way. We're very kind people. I love my people, but I know we can do better, you know? So the transition for me in human behavior, people change management, personal development, everything I'm doing in One Care, I brought that knowledge and psychology into, you know, sex counseling, because it's changing all your beliefs into the current, into new one. So I think everything is possible.
And again, just for the benefit of people who are listening, I'm speaking to Charifa Janga, who is the first and only certified sex and intimacy counselor in Curaçao, which is in the Caribbean. Do you mind telling people where Curaçao is exactly? Because I'm sure there's many people who are not familiar with the island.
Okay, let's see. I think the island that most people know is Venezuela, Colombia. We're there in the Caribbean. It's very small. I mean, you might Google it. It's sand, sun. It's a paradise. We're paradise here. Next to also Aruba and Curaçao. So we are really a Caribbean island. We're a melting pot. We have everything here. Multiple culture, multiple people, you know. It's really a melting pot.
Given that it's a melting pot, like you mentioned, with so many different cultures, why is it that people, you mentioned before that women aren't able to vocalize their desires or speak about their sexuality? Why is that, given that there's so many different cultures in the island? I would have thought that, if anything, there'll be more embracing of women who are sexually empowered or women who want to talk about their sexuality.
Yes, we're part of Holland. So we have in school, we learn a lot. Everything is in Dutch, and now Papiamento is introduced as well. But we have a lot of influence of Dutch culture here. But there's not proper sexual education given in schools. I mean, you might have heard something when you're 12, but that's it. They only promote like safe sex, not getting pregnant at an early age. But there's so much more. They do not talk about pleasure. The whole anatomy of the women has never been spoken about. It's all male-centered. And I come from, I'm a Catholic, raised and born, baptized Catholic. I went to Christian churches as well. I studied a little bit of Buddhism. I know a lot of spirituality, so I believe in everything, and it's because I have so many different cultures around me. I think it's important to learn about everything and everyone, but it's the same. There's a macho culture on the island that everything is surrounding the man. The man is the main character in sexual act. And women, we don't talk about pleasure, not even amongst each other. It's very taboo. We don't talk about masturbation. It's never been learned to us girls how to masturbate. So most of my customers can't even orgasm and being married. And it's like we don't have a voice as women, or never been taught how to talk about sex with your partner. I mean, for me, that's very important during dating. As I get to know someone, I want to know, how do you think about sex? And men get intimidated by me, the way I ask questions sometimes.
I was going to ask that. I was going to ask, what is the attitude of the reactions of men? You said that men get intimidated by you when you ask questions. Why do you think that is?
It's not normal. It's taboo for women to open freely about sex, I guess. I mean, I'm a native girl. lived here on the island for so many years. All my life, I travel a lot, so I've seen a lot. I know I have many male friends. It's nice to talk to me. They always say that it's very easy and pleasant to talk to me as a woman, as a friend, when they want to know something about other women. But I think as a partner, it's not normal for women speaking out for other women, because I consider myself the voice for others. And so it's kind of seem like shameful sometimes. Oh, Charifa, you should be doing something else with your life. You know, it's the mentality. And I mean, I'm so confident in my skin, who I am as a woman. I have my own company, and everything is related to my upbringings in my family. I have a huge amount of male figures in my family, not successful in relationship. And that's how I came to know it's all about the upbringing that we had. I mean, our culture, it's only monogamous in the face of everybody, but behind closed doors, everyone is cheating, from men to women. It's not spoken about. It's even accepted in the culture that a man has more women on the side, and it's okay. And it's a hetero community. Now the LGBTQ plus community is coming forward. Now more gay couples are coming forward. Now we're talking more about everything. So I think if we join forces, the main thing about life is being happy, be your authentic self.
Right, right. And amongst, I've noticed you went on a couple of like media, I don't know if you were doing a media tour or you had a couple of interviews where you're speaking about the female anatomy, and I know you had a couple of male guests. Like I saw one, I don't know how long ago it was, a podcast you was with, I think a few other guys. Unfortunately, I couldn't understand it because it was in your native language.
Yes.
But I was just wondering, what was, the men seemed quite receptive to what you were saying, and they would seem to be listening. Is that changing, or were they like an exception to the rule? Because like I said, I've seen 2 or 3 of your interviews, and all were interviewed by men, and they seem to be quite receptive and listening and wanted to know more. So I'm wondering, are they exceptions, or is there like a culture is the culture starting to change with the work that you're doing?
I really hope so. I've been doing it for 1 year already. I have other colleagues who've done it. 2 other colleagues, one went back to Holland and one is working. But I mean, doing this, it's not easy. People are going to talk about you. You're going to be talk of the town, you know, so you have to be, I think I'm brave enough to be the voice for every single woman on Curaçao, Bonaire. I have even customers in Holland, St. Martin, all over the place. Yes, men are eager to learn. I think that's a blessing, a quality of me. I can connect very well with human beings. I understand, I don't judge, so I give them a safe place to open up. Most of the time are the women who come to me with their problem in their marriage or in their sex life. And they want me to help them even with communication skills, basic communication skills, how to get the man to therapy with them. So I've done a one and only male night here on the island. I had like 30 men attending the event. It was sold out. And believe me, they thought they knew us women. The whole anatomy was a whole eye-opener. It's a big change for them. I explained a lot about the psychology, how do women think, feel, how our mind connects with our body, and pleasure. And that there is an orgasm gap and women don't speak about it. We have also a lot of influence from US, the Western part, you know, so porn, we've been taught by porn. It's not the correct way to be, you know, to teach yourself about sex through porn. And men on the island, they love to watch porn, and they think that we women enjoy the way that they see on TV, and it's completely the opposite. Completely the opposite.
Mm. And sorry, how many people are there in Curaçao approximately? I know you said it's a small island. I'm just wondering how many.
170,000, I think we are at the current moment.
Oh wow, that's a very small, it's
It's
a very small country.
it's a very small country. So doing this work for a year right now, I mean, it's amazed how they call me. And like you said, we are in a dominant world of men, and I know they're open, and I want to see our men doing better. There's a lot of women group on the island that empowers other women, but there's not even one men club that I've seen that men can come together and talk about their feelings, their relationship, their emotions, or try to bring change in their ways of being. So I want to see that change for our men, for sure.
And what are the common issues that you're finding, especially amongst married women, when it comes to like intimacy issues?
Oh, it's like most of the women, I have clients more than 20 years married without knowing what an orgasm is, not even interested in sex anymore. They live like brothers and sisters, or they 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 do not know as a women how to speak up their mind and talk about what they like, what do pleasure, what is it that they want from their man, and what's intimacy. A lot of women crave intimacy, but we have to explain to the men and the women what is intimacy. It's part of the relationship. It's a day-to-day thing. It's a lot of investment in your relationship. It's not only that when you come home you want to have sex and I should be ready, and that's it. There's a lot of women with pain during sex. It's because they haven't been aroused enough before penetration. So I'm trying now to change the conception that sex is only penetration. There's so much more you can do before penetration. Penetration is more or likely for the men only. Most women, they don't know the whole anatomy of their clitoris. It's new world for them.
And what advice, I mean, apart from visiting or attending some of your consultations, what short piece of advice can you give to both men and women to kind of help close the orgasm gap or pleasure gap?
The first thing I start with every time, it's hard for someone to say, I'm going to re-educate you. It sounds like, oh, you're degrading my IQ. And it's like, okay, no, I'm re-educating. I mean, there's a lot that there's recent studies, things have changed for centuries, have been changing. Us human beings are changing creatures. So I always start with both anatomy, that they can see the similarity, that they can understand it first. And the most important part is communication. How to get both parties to communicate and understand each other about their needs. What's your love language? What do you like? What do you like in bed? That fantasies are okay. So it's more about bringing the opposite sex that has been living for a while together to understand each other better. It's better communication. And I think that sex should be enjoyed.
So I was listening. I just wanted to tag you and put you on the pin so people can know who I'm speaking to and they can check out your great work. So just for the benefit of those of you who are joining, I'm speaking to Curaçao's one and only sex and intimacy coach, educator, and counselor, Charifa Janga. So I've pinned her two. Oh, sorry, I pinned one of them. Let me.
Oh,
I want
yes.
to. So I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to pin her IG handle so you can go and check out her work and some of the challenges she's facing. She's got a professional career in background in customer service, over 20 years of experience. In the past year or so, she's been teaching both men and women in her island and neighboring islands about female intimacy, about sex, and pleasure as well. And she's got a workshop coming up, I believe, in November. Do you mind telling us a little bit about your upcoming workshop in November, what you aim to get from that workshop?
Oh, yes, of course. I mean, up till now, my 1 year work has been solely and purely on requests. So people request me in small groups, or I do video chat counseling with my customers. But I think it's time. When I read your book, I said, no, it is time to organize something myself. I was planning to do a night for men and women, but you know, I said, no, I'm gonna change it. I'm gonna do like one night, women only, men only, and then for students, especially for young people. Because I think the connection between the gender is very different when they're mixed. And I don't want it to be a night of, you see, I told you so, I told you so, you know, no. I want it to be very, it's a re-education night. It's where we can learn about sex, that sex should be talked about, and that they can ask every question that they have. And hopefully, Habeeb, I could have your books here in Curaçao. I think your book is very essential for every household to have. It's a must-have. And let's see. I'm promoting a lot, so I have many months. Looking forward to November, and then I will go to Bonaire as well and see the other islands if they're interested. I've seen beautiful things happen for women and couples who are going through cancer, chemotherapy. The woman loses all her confidence, but now giving back the confidence of the woman. She should feel sexy, loved. Doesn't matter what they're going through as a couple, so they can rekindle, you know, their sex, their romance, their intimacy. I've also talked a lot to the Endometriosis Foundation, that women during intercourse having a lot of pain. So your Kunyaza, the Kunyaza technique is very helpful for women who has pain, you know, during intercourse. There's a lot of other ways that you can please your men, please your women. And I want to break the ice, the macho culture that, you know, I want men to be more emotionally connected to their women. That's my goal. So they can understand. A man has to understand how blessed and peaceful his life, his household can be if he has a well-loved woman.
Agreed. And what are some of the differences you've noticed when you teach or educate men compared to when you educate women, compared to when you educate them both in the same room, shall we say?
Yes, when I mostly, when they come as a couple, I separate them. I say, you know what? It's better that I treat you guys separately. And when I see that you guys have come to terms on the same education, re-education level, the same communication level, that you've done your homework, I will bring them together. Because most of the time the man comes and it's like, I know my job, I know what I'm doing, I don't need to change anything. So it's a lot of talking, changing beliefs, and asking a lot of questions to see where the barrier is. And I know it's shameful for a woman to tell their man that you're not pleasing me sexually as you should. It's like you're breaking down his manhood completely. But men should understand that they have not been taught properly. So I try to level up with them, get the confidence, bring them in a safe place that they can open up. When they're open, I can give them new knowledge. And it's nice to see that when they go back home, do their homework, day after day, it becomes a new habit in your life. To enjoy, to have better sex, pleasure.
No, well said, very well said. And you mentioned about that one of your passions or your aims is to teach men to be more, is it emotionally intimate or understand women? Is that something that in your culture that a lot of men lack?
Yes, I've heard from many women. I speak from 10 to 20 women a day a lot of time in groups, men lack that ability. Men lack the ability to cry. They think the only thing they should do is work and bring home money or take care of their women, and don't spend quality time with their spouses. And I say it's nice to have nice things. You can work the whole day, my friend, but we're in the 20th century. Women are also cheating. So while you're working, there's another one pleasing your woman. So why not change, work together, grow together, and have a strong connection between each other? I've seen such great connection between gay couples. I admire the work they do between their community compared to heterosexual couples. Really.
Yeah, I mean, there is even like with the orgasm gap, it does show that unfortunately that heterosexual women orgasm less frequently than any demographic. So even lesbian women will climax more than heterosexual women, and that's probably because obviously within a lesbian relationship, the female partner will understand it and woman's anatomy, what turns it on more than unfortunately a lot of men. So yeah, I've heard and seen the same as well. Someone asked the question, actually, I wanted to ask you. How do you mentally entice a man? So I'm assuming that's obviously a woman's asking, how do you mentally entice a man?
What does she mean with entice? What does that mean?
How do you like attract, mentally arouse a man?
Okay, that's what I like every woman to claim their sensuality and sexuality. Most men are visuals. I mean, you guys are visual creature. And it's not because you're already married, you don't take time for yourself and, you know, prep up for your man, take care of yourself. And there's so much sensual movement, the touch. I mean, men love to be touched. They don't ask for it, but they came from a woman. They have been nurtured by women. So the disconnection, I don't know where it came from, but I mean, most men love the way we women take care of them. But taking care is not only cooking and cleaning, women, ladies. No, take care means you have to be sexual and sensual as well for your man. You have to take time and listen to your man as well. And, you know, and help him in his mental state. Most women here on the island, there's a thing going on that when they fight between their marriage, the women, the way to like punish the man is, okay, then you don't get any sex from me tonight. And I say, ladies, don't do that. Please don't do that. Sex is a time of bonding. Maybe the man doesn't know how to say, I'm sorry, I did something wrong. But when you're having sexual intercourse, that energy, it's the sorry. You know, it's the getting back together. And later on, you can talk about the problem. But never, ever punish your man saying, I'm not having sex with you, because he's going to get it someone else. I mean, there's three women for every man on this island. There's a lot of single women on this island, Habeeb.
So when you said that a lot of women will withhold sex from their husband, is that because they're upset and they don't want sex, or they just want to punish him, or a bit of both?
Most of the time women are upset, and like I said, because the men lack the emotional part, the communication part, they don't want to take the care. It's just a moment that the woman will need to know, to let you know what's bothering her. Or women, if they're angry, for sure they will say, no sex tonight. No, there's no sex for you tonight. And I mean, you know, you're his wife, you're his girlfriend. Talk about things, relax, have a drink, start touching each other. Don't start thinking about penetration, it's gonna be sex. And most of the time it's because the women don't enjoy the penetration part. But if you know your body well, and you know as a woman, where do you like to be touched and massaged, I mean, there's no way you can say no. There's no way. I mean, sex, an orgasm is part of your mental health.
Yeah, I was about to say, because if the women are withholding sex, I was thinking the sex should be for both the man and the woman, shouldn't it be? So why would she withhold something that she's getting pleasure from, unless, like you mentioned, she's not enjoying it, so it's easier to withhold it and it's a punishment for for the man. It's interesting what you said that if or when women withhold sex, do you think it's more likely to be the case that a man is then going to look for sex elsewhere?
We have a macho culture here on the island. Like I said, many men are cheating. I don't say all,
yeah,
but I mean it's so easy. We have on the island, we have Dominican ladies, Colombian lady, Haitian ladies, Jamaican ladies. We're a melting pot here. There's so much women on the island, and not all men are like that. We even have prostitution is or was allowed on the island. We have a place called Campo Alegre. It's very known for all the tourists. Men go there all the time. So if they're not getting sex at home, they just go and pay for it. It's allowed. It's now closed due to COVID, but now the government is planning to open it again. So, I mean, just like I said, when the women experience pleasure and know all the benefit that she's getting from an orgasm, from pleasure, you will start glowing. All your headaches will go away. Sometimes even pain. So why you're withholding yourself of that joy and pleasure? I don't understand.
There's a couple of comments. Someone, I think a friend of yours, someone gave you a shout out. So proud of my dear friend Charifa. Someone also asked if you could talk a little bit about intimacy, like what is intimacy, and maybe talking about its importance. But I know you touched on it before, but do you mind touching on it again or explaining what is intimacy and its importance for both men and women?
The way I explain intimacy is most of the time it should be your way of living, your way of breathing and talking. For me, intimacy should never end. It starts from the moment you wake up. Take care of your lady, take care of your man, talk to each other, touch each other. And for that part, you should know the love language of your other partner. Be grateful. All of those little things, go on little dates. Be naughty with each other. Send some nice text. Life shouldn't be only waking up, going to work, take care of the children, taking care of the house, and that's it. Interact with each other. That's intimacy. One man one time asked me, he said, you know, Charifa, that's a lot of work for me. I mean, no, it's the way a relationship should be built upon intimacy, communication, trust, talk about things. And when should intimacy start? The moment you have an orgasm, you hug each other in bed, you caress your partner, start again. So for me, it never ends. And intimacy, for every couple, it varies. I mean, what I like, you don't like. So you should, the only way to know what works for you, what get your women or your man aroused is talking, exploring with each other.
I think the follow-up question, so someone asked, what if your partner only likes one way? So maybe just say if your partner is, you know, just, I don't know, what do they call it, like vanilla, and then and then you're maybe a bit more adventurous. How do you address that?
You know, sometimes you have to get the other part to just understand your brain, what does give you those goosebumps. And you don't always have to like what the other one like, but you can please each other. That's why the word pleasing comes to play. I'm pleasing you. I'm doing things that I might not enjoy, but I'm watching you enjoy. And that should give you pleasure as well during sex. But we should be more talkative to each other. Maybe I like to be blindfolded. Maybe I like certain smell of candles. Maybe I like to be touched in a certain way with a certain of rhythm. That's the beauty of being in a couple, that you can learn from each other and you can try what the other one likes as well. But if it's not your thing, it's okay. But it's all about pleasing your partner.
Lovely, very well said. Again, just for the benefit for those of you who are joining in, I'm speaking to Charifa Janga from the lovely island, or the beautiful island of Curaçao in the Caribbean. She is a sex and intimacy counselor, coach, and professional expert as well. She's got a conference coming up in November, and she's been helping both men and women and couples with their intimacy and relationship problems. Could I ask a little bit about, I want to know a little bit about, I'm not sure if it's your company, is it Bloom? Can you tell us a little bit about Bloom and the work that Bloom does and some of the aims and aspirations behind Bloom?
Yes, indeed. My company, the one that does the sex and counseling part in intimacy, it's called Bloom. Men don't identify with Bloom because of the color. So, dear men, I'm gonna add another color for you. I'm gonna add a nice color for you so you can interact and connect more with Bloom. But Bloom means blooming. As human beings, we're constantly blooming, we're growing, we're learning. It never stops. For me, that's what I said. If you gotten some sex education at 12, what happened between the gaps? And I say, sex will never stop. Sex will change. I want to see older couples still having intimacy and, if possible, still enjoying pleasure, still having sex. I want to see women who has illnesses still enjoying pleasure and sex. There's a way for everyone. There is a way for everyone to enjoy pleasure and sex. I want to see solo women enjoy their body. When you learn, you as a woman, about your own power, about your own body, no one can take that away from you. And your next partner will enjoy the blooming women that you are. So that's why the concept of bloom, that men and women should bloom into something beautiful till death do us part.
Lovely, beautifully said. Can you also touch, I had a question about, I know you touched on it before about the sex education system in Holland. And I know you mentioned that the Dutch system is taught in Curaçao. In relation to sex education, what are the differences or what are the gaps that are missing from the Dutch sex education system that is taught in Curaçao that you're trying to bridge? Like, what's missing from the sex education that people are generally taught in Curaçao?
Most of their books come from Holland, and I've noticed that the clitoris is not even yet in biology books. And I have to say, I have a friend who is a biology teacher in Holland. In Holland, they're more open-minded. So they're perceptive to learn more. And her way of giving sex education is also talking about pleasure. That part is not allowed here in Curaçao in school because of the Catholic system that we have in schools. So it's only talking about the menstrual cycle, the man's anatomy, the women's anatomy, how do you conceive, that's it. But for me, I want to see the change that you can teach about communication. What's relationship? Consent. What does it mean? Your sexual identity. Everything about pleasure should be part of a normal and healthy sex education. So it should be more broadened than what we have right now. And it should be recurrent. Start at a young age and go till 18. I mean, it never stops, like I said, because we change as people. Maybe today I love the color blue. In 10 years, I love the color white. So that's how we change also in sexual needs and response cycle. I mean, as humans, maybe something at this moment that gets me aroused, in 5 years, it will change. I need something else. I want to explore something else with my partner. And that's what lacking. Where do we go to get all those information? From the porn, from the internet? So I want to see a change in the school system, how we give sex education. Not only talking about condoms and pills and not having children young. No. How is the proper way then to have pleasure between couples? How is the proper way to communicate between couples? What does it mean to have a relationship? How do I give consent for sexual interaction? What is sex? Sex is not only penetration. Sex is Even if you touch me and I'm not okay with it, it's a sexual act and I didn't give you consent. So rape cases, it's high on the island. We have a lot. I mean, I don't want to even talk about sexual diseases on the island. People don't practice safe sex on the island because they think, oh, it won't happen to me. HIV, AIDS on the island. We don't talk about those things. And I'm not saying do not have sex. Do have sex the proper way, because there's no button on my shoulder that says, okay, sex on and sex off. It's something, it's natural. It's like breathing. It's like eating. It comes natural. And how do I manage my feelings? How do I cope with all the adrenaline, my hormones, everything that's going on in my body? Only if you're educated, you can know about those things.
Definitely. And are you planning to teach and help other women become educators and counselors like yourself? Because I'm sure there's a lot for you to take for you by yourself.
Yes, it's a lot, but I think I do need help in the future. And I want to have peer educators, especially in schools, you know, that people know, oh, I can go to that person. Oh, no, I can reach out. And that's why when you introduced me to the concept of village aunties, I think it's so beautiful. It's such a beautiful concept that women and men should know that they can go to someone. Now, where do we go to? To my mother? I can go to my mother. I had another education at home. I can speak to my mother of everything, but my mother can only give me what she knows. Nothing else. Where do other people go to? They go to other men. Men go to other men who are their friends. That's not proper sex education. That's not proper education how you should treat your women. It's not.
I heard that. I'm just wondering, out of curiosity, how did you hear about Kunyaza and my book? Just wondering, out of curiosity. I didn't ask you that, actually. It was on the DM.
I think afterwards, when we show this video again, I have a special friend in St. Martin. He was my manager long time ago when I worked in telecommunication, because I have a master also in telecommunication. And he said, girl, I always saw you at work. You're such another vibe of a woman. I love the work that you're doing. And he said, and he travels a lot. And he said, you know what, Charifa? I've heard of a book, but I cannot find it on my iPhone. I heard it's only on Amazon. I said, what's the book named? He said, Kunyaza, but I'm not sure what's about, but it has a lot. I've heard that what you're speaking, I learned, he read just a little concept of your book. I said, okay, I'm going to search. I have my daughter in Holland immediately. I said, you know what? Bring me that book. I've read many books. I mean, you can imagine, to understand the human mind. Look at me, breaking the habit of being yourself. Relationship, the 7 secrets of a healthy relationship. I've read so many books, but just like I told you, your book has everything in one single book, and it's so easy and simple to read. I love it. I hope you can translate it once in Dutch.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, I've had a lot of requests to translate it. I'm working on translating it into Portuguese, and hopefully Dutch and French. That's the next 3 languages I'm trying to work on. But yeah, God willing, we'll see what we can do with that.
I can help you with, I know a lot of people here on the island that they're good translators, so you never know. But I want to see, really, I want to introduce your book to the Minister of Education. I want to hand him out one of your books so we can read and see. There's nothing that the Catholic will not allow in a school written in this book. It's very properly written with nice words. You can learn to speak about sex. It's very natural and nice, in a nice language.
No, I appreciate that. That's very, very, very nice of you. Is there actually anything, before I go to my next question, is there anything else that you want to promote or speak about that you've got upcoming? I know we mentioned about your conference in November. Is there anything else that you want to let people know about? Oh, and also please feel free to talk about where people can contact you, your website, with your consultations as well.
Oh yes. Okay, another thing I'm working on. I want to open like a men club. I don't want to call it a book club for men because I know men don't like to read. So I'll do the reading. Men, don't worry. I'll do the reading, the speaking, everything. I want to open a club only for men only, where we can educate them, and what they don't get at school, they can start from 16, 17. So I'm working with a lot of youth foundations, you know, to spread the word. That's one thing I'm working on. And the big event in November that I want to do in Curaçao, I'm always available. People can contact me via DM. I do video counseling, no personal counseling. Counseling in person is only for work groups. If you have a group, 8, 10 women, 30 women, doesn't matter. We can arrange something. I will go to you and give some information that you need. You know, it's funny because people's like, Charifa, I want you to come and talk about sex. I'm like, do you know how many topics there is in sex? What exactly do you need? Because sometimes sex is very personal. So what I do in my workshop is the raw content that's supposed for everyone. But when it comes to you as a human being, you have to come to a private consultation. So I'm available at Bloom CC_ sex coaches. The name stands for Charifa and Curaçao sex coaches because I'm a visionary, Habeeb. I know for sure that in the future, I will have more help from women and men as well. That we can help and counsel more couples, more people, teaching. It's all about re-educating a whole culture. So you have my phone number as well on the Bloom site. People can always WhatsApp me for a consultation. When I have time, I always get back to my customers. And yes, and keep following us all. I mean, we are all joining forces. It's for the same cause, closing the orgasm gap and pleasure for all. Like I said to many women here on the island, the revolution is coming. We should come as well, just like the men.
I love that. I would have loved.
It's the power to the pussy. We have power, and we don't know it. We're not using it well.
That would have been lovely to end on, but I just wanted to. Someone sent me a private message. I just want to read it for you. As a Catholic woman, I'm very proud of Charifa and the work she's doing. Go, 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 girl, we support you. Okay, so there's someone who is a Catholic as well, and she said she's very proud of the work that you're doing. So yeah, keep it up. So yeah, kudos to you. And yes, it's been a pleasure speaking to you. I'm going to save this live. I think we've covered most of everything I wanted to cover. Obviously, we'll connect offline. But yeah, I just want to say thank you for giving the time to just obviously speak to me about your work and the great things that you've got upcoming. Like I said, I'll save this live and I'll make sure I'll put your links to your Instagram so people can check out Charifa. So what's the name of the website again? Could you mind saying it again? Because I didn't actually type it.
Oh, it's CC_ sex coaches. That's Instagram account. Yes.
And is it easier for people to contact you via DM, by Instagram, or to go to your website?
It's better to do it via a DM. Yes, it's easy. It's because I'm juggling now two companies, One Care and Bloom. So I have time for Bloom, and during the day I'm really sucked up. I train and coach a lot of people, really a lot. But I love it. That's where I get my energy from. Seeing people, you know, evolve into something else, become more confident and know how to talk and to speak and to go get a job or go get a man or go have sex. It's amazing. It's amazing. Really, it's amazing.
Lovely, lovely. Thank you again for your time. You've been great. I want to save this now. And then, like I said, we'll talk again soon offline.
Yes, Habeeb, for sure.
Thanks again, Charifa. Thanks everyone for joining. Thank you.
Bye.
Take care. Bye.